Thank you, Angel. Happy post-Easter. Actually, it's still Easter here in Tasmania. We, for some weird and wonderful reason, have a thing called Easter Tuesday. Means means very little to me, of course, but I guess to those employees who have had the day off, they're probably very happy to do so. Small business doesn't like it, I got to tell you. Employing people under those conditions is just no fun. Anyway, it is what it is, and I can't change that. Happy Easter, trading bunnies to you too, Paul P. Nice to have everyone on board so far, and hope you had a wonderful break and managed to stay out of trouble. I think I did. Haven't noticed anything too dramatic over the last 24 hours or so. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Of course, the news of the day for me and most traders who look at the Aussie is, of course, that we only a couple of hours ago actually had an RBA rate statement, and I've read that. And I actually want to go through a couple of things with it, but I'll wait till Ash gets in the room. I thought it was quite significant, a few of the things that Philip Lowe had to say in that statement, not least of which he thought that the inflation that may be growing currently was a temporary situation, and we've heard this before, and I really don't know why everyone's getting hyperinflated over the potential inflation. I'm no economist, I'm no fundamentalist, so I've got to defer this to Ash, and I want to have that conversation with him a little bit later on. In the meantime, do we have a range? Actually, I better get rid of these numbers so nobody gets excited about placing trades here because there's none available. I should emphasize that those of you who probably haven't been in the room for a while may know that we've been testing a breakout strategy on pound US dollar at UK Open for quite some time. And we haven't really reached a position that we're entirely happy with. So therefore aren't suggesting that we jump in and trade this every single day. What we have discovered over the last few weeks, Ash and I have been going over the, back testing it, I suppose, for want of a better word. Not really in love with that as a terminology. I would rather say analysing what has not only taken place, but what is likely to take place. So that is very much a case of what we've been trying to do. Really, what we've been trying to ascertain is what we call a sweet spot. So if the market actually does break out of a range, and of course we have to have an established range before we break out of a range, we want to know how far that goes, A, to its extreme, B, to its average, and C, to its minimum, so that we can develop a strategy around that. The sweet spot, of course, would be where we have a situation where we're winning more than we're losing on average, of course. So those of you who attended the session on Saturday, I couldn't attend because I'm busy on a Saturday, but I believe that was quite enlightening and really put into words, I suppose, or put into images what a lot of I suppose, people who have been around for quite some time have tried to, I guess, instill in you guys for quite some time. I saw a little bit of it and I thought, wow, why couldn't I come up with that explanation? That would have been really cool. So I'm looking forward to actually viewing that in its entirety. If you get the opportunity and you haven't been able to, or you weren't able to be there on Saturday, I know the recording's not available yet and it won't be probably for a while, but if you do get the opportunity to have a look at that, I think it's very, very well depicts pretty much what we do try to tell you day to day, but there's also some stuff in there that I hadn't even considered, frankly, and looking forward to monitoring that, see how it goes. Anyway, today I'm saying that we don't have a range on pound US dollar. I think I'm screen sharing. Yes, I am. I don't have a range on pound US dollar. Maybe there was one up in here, but we've now decided that that range needs to be over 2-day period at least. And as you can clearly see, we've got higher highs, higher lows, and perhaps this is a higher low leading to a new high. I don't know, got no idea. But we've also got an impediment, if you like, underneath us here, the daily pivot, an untested daily pivot at that. So I really wouldn't want to be entering short. Good luck to that person. Sorry about that. And I don't really want to go for new highs at the moment because I'm not that keen on pound US dollar, because it is putting in a series in the bigger picture, a series of lower lows and lower highs. So kind of 50-50 here, isn't it? I do like the fact that we're in this little band here where we've had a false break twice to the upside and twice to the downside. So that's probably the range as I see it. But for a 1 hour chart, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to break out of smaller ranges than that. So no trade today on pound US dollar for the breakout. I'll wait till Ash comes in the room. I wanted to have a chat about Philip Lowe's statement. I will therefore go and have a look at, did I place an order this morning? I think I did. What was that on? Pound Kiwi. Oh, yeah. And it wasn't a scaling, guys. It's actually going in the opposite direction. It's a sell order based on pretty much what I've been seeing in the bigger picture, or the medium picture. Let me put it in the medium picture. Big picture still telling me that we're going here. Now, it better get a rocket up its backside if it's actually going to go to there in a timely fashion. That would mean, let me see, when will that occur? That's likely to occur on the 1st of the 5th. It's actually unlikely to occur on the 1st of the 5th, but not saying it can't. All things are possible, but I would not be thinking that we're getting there on the 1st of the 5th. Maybe next year, but not this year. Anyway, that remains the big picture for me. So I am still a bull. But when you consider that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 months of positive bars, you've got to start thinking, well, hang on, we're due for a bit of a spell. And look at that level through here. It's been strong support. It's been resistance through here, resistance here, and resistance here. So we're back there again. So after 4 solid months of positive territory, I think it's probably time for a little bit of a breather for pound Kiwi. And I will look to that all throughout this week, I would think. And if I get a decent setup, then I will look to position in that direction. And we had one. Let me go to the weekly chart first off, where you can pretty clearly see that we hit the top of that range. There's that level that I was talking about, where you can see the resistance and support that we have had in the past at that level. And we got a rejection bar off there. So really, when that happens, all I'm looking for is a lower high to get into the market. Now, those of you who watch the previews that I do each morning, you will know that I did find the possibility. I found a potential entry, but I would still be looking for this lower high. And in this vicinity, that'd be fantastic. Be a far better entry than what I've got, obviously. But that beautiful tweezer top sitting at the top of that ascending channel on the daily chart is compelling to me. So if I get a lower high here, I'll certainly be looking to trade it. And if we go back to this level, who cares? If we can pick up some money on the way back here, who cares? Our stop loss is still down here. Now, I am tempted to move it to entry. I see no problem with that. If you're in this trade with me and you felt like moving your stops to entry, I can't see any problem with that. It is the last swing, however. You're above the last swing. So I'll just leave it there until we get a decent other swing. And what I mean by that, we've had a breakout of this range here, right? Until I get that swing at the top of this range, I think we're still probably vulnerable at this level here, because this was the swing at the breakout of the previous range. So whilst it's risking 500 pips or something, whatever we're up. I can't quite recall. 97.20, yeah, very, very close to 500 pips. Although it's risking that amount, I do think that's the wise thing to do. I'm pretty confident that we're going to bounce here again if we get here. And I'd like to trade that down to that position if indeed it's possible. I did say this would potentially be an early entry, but I didn't want to miss it because I see all of that available to us. Is that FOMO? Yeah, probably is. But I'm quite okay with that. It's now looking like we may have to wait for that lower high, and I'm perfectly fine with that. That's all good. And that's, of course, why we trade insurance bars, so that we don't get taken into a bad trade. So that's pound Kiwi. That's the order that we took this morning. If you want to follow it, go there to the parameters. I would suggest that I'll probably change that as early as in the morning, but it may even be earlier than that. If I look at the 4-hour chart, still got the double top here. It's going range here, though. I'm really seeing a range form. I'll put that in place as a matter of fact. We can probably start our lows here, and we can start our highs here, I would imagine. So that's the kind of range that I'm looking at the moment. Equal lows, equal highs. So at the moment, we're probably looking for this to still go towards the upside. But we didn't reach the bottom either, so it's kind of no man's landish. But a lower high here would get me interested, and I'll keep my eye on that. I was interested in the Aussie pairs, but I had to see the result of the RBA statement to get interested in that. And Aussie Swissy, of course, was and is one of those, not least because we're at the bottom of the range here. Now, I'm intrigued. In my humble opinion, I thought the RBA statement was quite, I won't say bullish, I won't say bearish, I won't even say hawkish or dovish, to quote the vernacular. But what I would say is I didn't think it was negative. There you go. So I'm of the opinion that the Aussie may well have a little bit up its sleeve here. Not seeing that in the markets at the moment, but that doesn't mean a whole lot at this early stage. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me, and never surprises me, that London Open leads to a push in one direction and then magically, mysteriously, it goes in completely the opposite direction. So I'm keen on a position like Aussie Swissy on the smaller time frames, because we have bounced off the bottom. We have put in a higher high, and a higher low here would suit me down to the ground. So I'll be looking for that one, mainly on the smaller time frames for now, but who knows, we might pick it up on a longer one as well. G'day, John. How you doing, mate? I'm glad everything is well in KL, as it should be. Why would it not be? Or is there issues that I'm not aware of? Certainly issues in Indonesia. There's no question there. Righto, so that is... all is good, excellent. So Aussie Swissy, I'm a little bit keen on trading that long. Dollar Swissy, I also had an opinion on that. I had an opinion on that yesterday. That hasn't changed. In fact, it's probably working its way into a position that I can trade. This is very, very similar to pound Kiwi, frankly. And when I looked at this chart over the weekend or on Sunday, I found that we had 3 months of bullish activity. In fact, closed on the high, closed on the high, closed on the high. That's quite bullish. But then I thought, well, okay, well, we've kind of got a level here as well that we've rejected. That's probably a little bit above price at the moment. So there, you can see we've had support through here, resistance through here, resistance through here, support through here. So it's a level that the market does recognize. So when I add that up, 3 strong months of bullish activity, and then I look back and I think, well, how often does that happen on a pair that primarily is a ranging pair? And so it's not hard to find that. You just simply go back in the charts for the last time we had 3 in a row. And there's one there. There's another one there. But after 3, it's very, very difficult to find. There's a very strong one there. So it's not impossible, right? It can happen. And interestingly, I suppose, the last time it did happen was pretty much at that level. I'm convincing myself in reverse here that short is the way to go, because of course it can happen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of rallying. Maybe it's worth going back, and surprise, surprise, it looks like it was in April. Yeah, interesting. April or into May there, but that was the turnaround point in April 2014. So those of you who are into that sort of thing, and why wouldn't you be? It's never a bad idea. What happened in April of 2014 to push dollar Swissy up for 6 months in a row? Maybe I've got this all wrong. Maybe I have. But as a technician, I'm still seeing that level, and I'm still seeing on the bigger picture, weekly charts telling me a rejection bar there. And again, I count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row. And then I look back, it's going to be the same story. If you find 7 weeks in a row of rally here, then I'd be very surprised that you'd find more than one in maybe the last decade or more. So that's the kind of the basis as to where I was when assessing dollar Swissy for a short. Then I saw this nice tweezer top sitting here, and I don't trade tweezer tops per se. I love them. I notice them. And as soon as I see one, I'm looking for a lower high. And that's the case here. Exactly the same as pound Kiwi, really, in many regards. So a lower high here becomes a short entry for me. I'll be looking for that on, well, all the time frames, really. And already we can see the effect of that coming into play. And I'll point this out to you, if those of you who are lovers of Head and Shoulders, and one will be in the room very shortly. We've got a left shoulder here, a head here, and a right shoulder, which really makes the neckline interesting, if that is indeed the right shoulder, because the neckline's probably there somewhere. And we've got to go all the way back to this confluence area of weekly pivot and broken trade line to find that again. So we may be in for a fair wait here. Daily pivot's interesting, of course, and a reversal bar there may be interesting. But I actually see this as a deeper retracement. I will have a look at it, however, because it might be worth a short play down to here. It may well be, but there's always that potential for the retest of that break now. So I'm less convinced, I've unconvinced myself, if that's a thing, that this is the way to go in the short term. I might have to wait a little bit, but the thought process is still there. I think there are a couple more. Aussie Kiwi was one. Let me look at Aussie Kiwi. Now, Aussie Kiwi, I was waiting for the RBA statement, of course, to find a direction here. And I've been bullish Aussie Kiwi. And in fact, we were in some trades last week, and we got all these reversals quickly, which took our trailing stop losses, I hasten to add. We didn't do any damage there on any of them, but we lost a few positions because of those big retracements on Thursday and Friday. So, yeah, this one's an interesting scenario, because we have come back from that big breakout that we saw 2 weeks ago. We've come straight back onto the top of that range. You would expect that to happen, but we've also got some trend lines down here which are yet to be met. I was thinking, okay, RBA might help us out here, and we can actually trade down to this level, then look for a long again. I'm a little bit unconvinced that we're going short now, because I in my opinion, and I notice Ash has come in the room, and we will go and talk about the RBA statement very, very shortly, but I'm now unconvinced that the Aussie versus the Kiwi will come back any further. This may be it. I'll have to monitor that from here. G'day, bud.
Hello, mate. How's things?
Top of the world.
Good. Well, bottom of the world from my perspective.
Well, from most people's perspective, yes. But if you stand on your head,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's all
Top of the
good.
world there.
How was your
Yeah.
Easter, bud?
Oh, do you know what, mate? I mean, it was it should have been quite nice and relaxing, and it was okay. I mean, it's we've there was a few nice things going on around here. We had a nice little street party and an Easter egg hunt. So Molly was
Hmm.
happy, but it's been a bit of a drama, if I'm honest. Like yesterday,
Yeah.
the power we just had a power outage, and after some investigation, I found out that our boiler is causing a trip. It's kind of turning on, but then it's tripping the whole system. So we got no hot water at the minute. So I had a
Oh,
crisp
that's
cold
always
shower
fun.
this morning. Yeah, which is I mean, cold showers are. It's funny during it, before it, don't like it. During it, I don't like it. But as soon as I finished, actually, I feel a lot better than if I had a warm shower.
Refreshed.
So
Absolutely. Could be
yeah, I
worse.
feel
It could be June.
well. It could
Sorry,
for us.
June here. It could be
Yes.
December.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. This is definitely the case. It's not the worst time of year for it to happen. And if I'm honest, I was saying to Paul yesterday, I'd prefer to have electricity throughout the whole house and no boiler because you can handle. We've still got water. You can handle no hot water and no heating during a mild kind of time of year, but no electricity just means that you've just got no communication with people, and that's tough.
We've learned to live a very, very power dependent life, have we not?
Yes, we have.
Mm,
Yeah, we certainly have, and
sad but
yeah,
true.
yeah. Which part of me quite likes the reminder of that when I'm having my cold shower. I don't know if I'll feel like that by the end of the
Mm,
week, but certainly this
I
morning I was
know.
like, you know what? There's lots of people in the world that don't have this the hot running water. To be honest, they're probably in countries that are already pretty hot, so it's
Yep.
maybe not as
Most of
bad.
them live in the tropics. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. We're okay. There's no major dramas, but it's just another thing that I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to have to pay for now. Could be 5 grand that I've got to somehow
Oh,
go and fish out, and it just seems
wow.
to be one of those years really that it just seems to be expense over expense so far. But
So can we make the markets pay for that?
well,
What can you? And I want to have a yarn. Have you got anything pushing?
not really, mate. No, no.
Because it is Tuesday, and we won't have a lot of time to converse about this. But I wanted to get your impressions. Have you read the RBA statement?
Was that released today?
Only a couple of hours ago, yeah.
No, I haven't, mate. No, to be honest, I was just looking at some RNS on some FTSE shares and some level two stuff. So I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet.
Okay, well we won't go into it, but I've come
Oh no,
away
let's
with
go into it. Let's go into it, mate. Because I mean, I haven't read it, but I am interested in what was said. Certainly what your take on it was.
well, I'll give you the guts of what I thought was important,
Yeah.
and that was from here to here. I thought I'll read it. Sovereign bond yields have increased over recent months due to the positive news on vaccines and the additional fiscal stimulus in the United States. Inflation expectations have also lifted from near record lows to be now closer to central banks' targets. I think that's interesting. The
Yeah,
three-year
very.
government bond yield in the 3-year government bond yield in Australia is at the board's target of 10 basis points, and lending rates for most borrowers are at record lows. The Australian dollar remains in the upper end of the range of recent years. I don't like that part. That
Mm,
tends to me to think they'll do everything to keep it low. But
mm.
anyway, the economic recovery in Australia is well underway and is stronger than had been expected. The unemployment rate fell to 5.8% in February, and the number of people with a job has returned to the pre-pandemic level. Interesting. GDP increased by a strong 3.1% in the December quarter, boosted by a further lift in household consumption as the health situation improved. The recovery is expected to continue and above trend growth this year and next. Household and business balance sheets are in good shape and should continue to support spending. I think this is the most important paragraph of the lot. Nevertheless, wage and price pressures are subdued and are expected to remain so for some years. The economy is operating with considerable spare capacity, and the unemployment and unemployment is still too high. It will take some time to reduce this spare capacity and for the labour market to be tight enough to generate wage increases that are consistent with achieving the inflation target. That's important. In the short term, CPI inflation is expected to rise temporarily because of the reversal of some COVID-19 related price reductions. Looking through this, underlying inflation is expected to remain below 2% over the next few years. I think that's really important, that part, because there's a lot of talk about inflation at the moment.
I thought, mate, two really important sentences there, or certainly phrases within that, was about the unemployment numbers, and as you say, the inflation numbers. And interesting that they're talking about temporary inflation, which, okay, so there seems to be an argument about inflation. You know, are we going to get hyperinflation? Are we going to get deflation first? Are we going to get, whatever's going on now, this kind of temporary inflation, which it looks to be the case across the board. But the really interesting thing is about employment, because it appears to me that most central banks don't want to move on anything, i.e. rising any interest rates, until employment is off and away and back up to pre-pandemic levels. So with the RBA saying that, and I know that Jerome Powell has got a similar tone that he seems to be striking, doesn't seem to me like they're ready to move. But if we compare that to what's been happening in the United States, I mean, some stellar numbers. At the end of last week, ISM non-manufacturing and ISM service data, ISM PMIs, and also the employment picture in America, all improving quite substantially, maybe not substantially enough, but quite substantially. And it would point at the United States possibly moving before everybody else. But then it becomes who's second. And from the RBA statement, you'd say that they're in pretty good shape. The United Kingdom is also in fairly decent shape, but the unemployment picture looks a little bit different to the rest of the world, where the unemployment picture in the United Kingdom is likely to rise, where everybody else is likely to fall. And that's because the policy was completely different. So in the United Kingdom, we had the furlough scheme, which was something put in place by the government, where they would effectively give companies money to keep their keep their workforce online. But what that does mean is that when furlough comes out of the system, if those companies aren't ready to continue to pay their workforce, then they're likely to lay people off, and that's where you'll get an employment a pop in unemployment. Whereas in the States, they were much keener to kind of say, well, fine, we'll just give the worker some cash, just so they can live through and effectively look for new jobs, which I think is better in a lot of ways, because it doesn't support companies that just aren't sustainable, and it also gives people time to maybe go and find a new industry, or maybe even retrain.
Depends a lot on how they spend it, though, I guess, Ash, doesn't it?
Oh, undoubtedly, and I think a lot of it has probably been going into the stock market and maybe some into cryptocurrencies as well. So it does depend on that. You're absolutely right. But the picture doesn't. The picture's good, from Australia's point of view, and I think the picture's good from the United States point of view, which maybe is a direct correlation. Good morning, guys. By the way, Shukri, how you doing, buddy? Lewis. Who else can I see there has been chatting away? Andy, how you doing, guys? Oh, John as well. Yeah, good to have you in guys. So I think, the direct kind of correlation between the United States growth, China growth, and Australia is probably very much prevalent. We're probably seeing that.
The one thing that concerns me with that is how are we measuring that growth? We're measuring that growth year on year, and we've been now a year in COVID.
Yeah.
Are we measuring that growth year on year on year, which to me would be more relevant? So that I have concerns about, because clearly, as COVID becomes less of a threat, then economies are going to improve. There's no question about that. So those numbers, to my mind, may be just a little bit skewed to the upside.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I suppose when it comes down to when it comes, yeah, as you say, you know, if you're sort of like measuring the numbers year on year, then I don't know. I don't really know what's going to I don't know what that necessarily suggests.
No,
But
nor do I.
certainly,
I'm not an economist or a fundamentalist. But to me, if we're getting carried away with numbers that are not year on year on year,
yeah.
then that's probably a bit of just way it flags something for me. That's all. It doesn't mean anything per se. It's just
Yeah.
waves a little bit of a flag and say, well, just hang on a minute. Let's see how this pans out.
Yeah, well, but the other thing with it all is that, of course, as all economies kind of start producing these numbers, it's not a question of whether we're getting world growth. It depends on who's leading the charge, because that's what we're trying to do here, aren't we? We're trying to figure out the spread between the euro versus the Aussie, for example, or the Aussie dollar. You know, that's always the task in front of us. So I don't know, you know, when it comes down to that, whether we're getting a clear enough picture on who is leading the charge as our job, you know, as our role is really trying to figure out
That's
who's
probably what I'm saying.
yeah. Well, do you know this is where some of those little numbers and those little points of detail come into play, because we've got the situation in Europe, which the situation in Europe was numbers are looking better, but it's fairly bleak still. I mean, the United Kingdom's still cutting travel. And you know, we've had lockdowns in France, and Angela Merkel is suggesting a lockdown, and then okay, yes, she reversed it, but vaccine rollouts have still been very slow. I don't really know, you know, where we are with the pandemic. The waters are becoming very muddied as countries come out of lockdown. You know, we are coming out of lockdown, and certain numbers are dropping, but I don't really. I'm not really sure. You know, South Korea, or is it North Korea? One of the Koreas, I'm guessing it must be South Korea, have pulled out of the Olympic Games. So it just goes to show, because of COVID. So it just goes to show that the concern and the pandemic still is swimming around the place. So I don't know. We're not going to get the same kind of effect on economies now. I think in America we had you know, a huge kind of vaccination program over the weekend as well. So if we're still focusing on the vaccine, I think we've got to say the United Kingdom and the United States are probably winning, along with Australia and New Zealand, because they were relatively well prepared in the first place. And Europe is probably losing. And it just depends on whether we think, will it affect the numbers, you know, longer term? Will those numbers in Europe actually eventually get negatively affected because they just haven't got control of the vaccine, they haven't got control of the pandemic? Yeah,
Well,
Johnson, give it another
there are
6 months before.
still more questions than answers, I think, is the upshot of that.
Yes, there absolutely is. But let's have a look at some charts, mate, because the FTSE has been really interesting, and also indices, generally speaking, have been really interesting over the course of the weekend. But FTSE in a very interesting position right now. I'll just share my screen here.
Same, John. I might slip over to New Zealand and have a couple of sherbets with Paul, but yeah, I'm not going anywhere outside of that.
Yeah. So here we go. We have got a FTSE 100, which I thought, you know, that a very, very interesting. Look at that, mate. Really nice setup here to the upside, and I got into the trade around about here, but I've subsequently taken profit. Don't like the way that this has necessarily reacted, but the FTSE is just playing catch up. You know, when we look across the board here, really what we've seen over the course of the last few days. Actually, let's look at the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq broke out of this level here that it was struggling to get through, this what was looking like a right shoulder. It broke out at this point here, broke out with some gusto as well, and continues to kind of like travel to the upside. So very very strong with the Nasdaq. We've seen that the S&P.
Does that come as a bit of a shock?
Well, I think that's a lot to do with Joe Biden, you know, and I think it's a lot to do with some of the stimulus packages that have been going on. So maybe so, maybe a little bit, but some of it is Easter as well, the kind of Easter. Oh, sorry, 1 second, 1 second.
Hello, darling.
Give me 1 second.
No school today.
No, they're on holiday. Sweet, I'm just on the radio. I'll come with you in a minute, okay?
live and true. Isn't that gorgeous?
Asking if I'm warm because the heating's off.
Oh, isn't it good? Not where's the rest of my Easter eggs?
No. So where we? Yeah. So S&P pop into the upside, but I thought this was quite interesting, mate. If we put volume onto this, well, now we know these valuations are kind of getting out of control, and I've got to get a new handle on some of what's going on here as well, because but look at the volume here. I mean, this is MT4 volume, but it's going to be relatively. It's going to be relatively reflective of what's really been happening. Yes, we had a bit of a pop to the upside there, but you know this is day over day volume. Now, obviously, this is a highly kind of volatile area here, but you can see the kind of average volume is probably somewhere in this line here. So my concern is always when we see a rally like that on relatively high volume, and I wonder whether we need just a little bit of settling down. Yes, I'm seeing pops to the upside of the market, and I'm seeing pops to the upside over the weekend and yesterday. There's a pop to the upside with the FTSE today. So far, you can see the gap up, but okay, we haven't got the full volume picture really by the end of today. But you can see this volume just dying down, and this is the kind of thing that I'm much more interested in. If you look here, the volume pickup when we got that rally was suggesting that all of this would probably be just a bit more supported, you know. Big volume spikes here with this train tracks reversal here, kind of showing us that there's a bit of a reversal here. Big volume spike here when it comes down, but then the next day it kind of gets swept up. So, you know, we're kind of off again, but there's a lack of support here, in my opinion, which I find quite concerning. Nasdaq, okay, yeah, Nasdaq had a decent volume spike relative to the last the few days around it, but you can see that it is drifting down again. So I'm not convinced on this, mate. And then we kind of look at oil as well, which I think is something that we have to be looking out for. If we see what's happened to oil, we see oil kind of turning around here, head and shoulders pattern, bit of a dive down yesterday, and that looks like it could be down to the OPEC supply, where they're going to be putting more supply into the system, but that they are trying to keep prices caged. But the market hasn't loved what happened with OPEC, so there's not confluence really when we're thinking about growth. Energy hasn't done particularly well over this last few, really over this period here, and volume is much more interesting in oil than it is anywhere else. So is this more of a message than the S&P? And I wonder whether it is. So I'm not that comfortable here, if I'm honest, mate. I think some short-term trades not a problem, but I'm looking to buy and hold on to something. And I haven't really got a message to do that. I don't think there's anything I'm really comfortable with. I wonder whether we're getting signals of a top here. Here's gold. Decent move back to the upside with gold, but we talked about these levels and sort of basically said that unless it takes these levels out, then gold is still in a downtrend, and it really it is. Yes, we got that double bottom, decent move back up again. Can't so far get through the trend line. Isn't getting through this high here, so this is caged as well. Gold is just in a range for me. Question is which way is next, but we're in a sell zone, and it looks like the next direction for gold is still lower. We'll just have a quick look at Bitcoin as well. An interesting one, Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has not been able to break through levels where, you know, other kind of bullish asset classes have gone. Bitcoin hasn't really gone anywhere so far, where we've seen Ethereum pop to the upside. I mean, Shukri is going to probably talk more about this tomorrow. Ethereum pops the upside.
No,
XRP.
Today.
Today, of course it is. Oh, gosh. You know what? Let's get to him. Jeez, let's get to him. I don't know. I'm covering his ground here. Sorry, Shukri. Sorry. Do you know what? Yesterday's day off threw me completely.
It's a good day. It's a good day. Cryptocurrency it's a good day today.
It's a good day. So,
yeah.
What's going on here, mate?
Can you name the singer who released that song? Hang, when was that? And we're gonna have a good day today.
We gotta make that into an NFT. NFT coming. NFT.
No. Actually, did you get into trouble the other day, Shukri?
I need a higher. I need a higher resolution thing of you.
Oh, really?
Higher resolution picture of you. Yeah. Yeah. So just send me the higher resolution thing.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I was promoting this NFT, you know, and somehow they got it wasn't a copyright strike. But hey, I'm promoting you.
So it's me that's suing you, is it?
Yeah.
We could come to some sort of deal here.
But yeah, the good thing about Bitcoin not going anywhere, guess what?
Yeah.
The cryptocurrency market just hit 2 trillion. So now all the smaller ones are moving. And this is the most important chart of all. You see that? The Bitcoin market dominance has gone down. And if it goes here, there's a lot of money to be made. This is what I expect it to happen until July, hitting there and then putting back up and then probably going down here at the end of the year. See that? That's end of 2000, that's end of 2017, right? Mm-hmm. And go here early 22 and end here around June, July, and that's it. That's how it is. So we're waiting for it to go down into summer here, like here. See that? Like here. And this is a massive rally. This is just super duper massive. So this is what it did during April. Okay, I'm just going to show you the implications. We're only 2 weeks into April. I looked at my portfolio. It has moved like an extra 1 million ringgit or 250,000 US in 1 week. So I'm going like, what in the world is happening? But that's happening.
What's that, mate? Sorry, is that you saying the altcoins are? Yeah. What? You saying that the altcoins are?
Yeah, the altcoins are moving up. Yeah.
Right.
My other alts are moving like insane, totally insanity, total insanity. Okay, but it's only just started, and I tell you why. But first, before we do that, why is on the Monday show, why this rally will be crazy, and I'll show you that. But before that, we go to New Zealand. We hope Australia will be like this one day. Look at that.
Does that mean Bitcoin comes down from here, or it just stays where it is?
It will pump also.
Okay.
It will pump and then go steady, and that's what we want. We don't want it to crash. As long as it doesn't crash, the altcoins will pump. So New Zealand has started this. Oh, look, New Zealand Retirement Fund invests in Bitcoin. So somehow I think that now it looks like the innovation for this round of DeFi is actually coming from New Zealand, not because of this. This is one of the reasons that New Zealand is starting to accept Bitcoin retirement fund of all things. But this is a very big deal. Coinbase has just invested in a company called Akala Network. It is coming out with Karura and Akala is actually based in New Zealand, Auckland. So the DeFi of Polkadot is actually coming from New Zealand of all the places, which I find quite that's like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
New Zealand punches well above its weight in many things. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know, and I don't know if that article states it, Shukri, how much of their portfolio were they prepared to put into coin?
Oh, they didn't say, but but because this the first DeFi round was about Ethereum. This is about Polkadot, and for Coinbase, and Coinbase is getting listed on the 14th of March, and this is a big thing. To back a company from New Zealand is a big thing. And the big thing is this, good news for Jeff's Kusama, right? So this is what they have. This is, I'm going to describe Liquid staking. They will also have Liquid Kusama staking. That means just for example, if Jeff stakes his Kusama here, say there's $1,000 or 1,000 whatever in currency of Kusama, he stakes it here, he gets interest. That's one. Two, do you know that he can now move that Kusama out as LKSM or whatever they call it? And that LKSM can then be actually moved. This is an exchange. He can actually trade that LKSM here while this is earning interest. Or he can even stake this LKSM again to get double your yield. I mean, that's crazy, right? But of course you can't bring that LKSM to Binance or Huobi or whatever. But hey, they will also have an exchange here. So Jeff.
So how do I do this, Shukri?
We have to wait for them to release the app.
Oh, it's an app, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's an app. But that's amazing, right? It's like now Jeff, if Jeff has 1,000 Aussie and he puts it in a fixed deposit in an Australian bank, which you don't want to do it anyway, that 1,000 stays in the bank, one yield. This is like Jeff puts money in an Aussie bank, he gets back AUSD, and that AUSD can now be invested in the Australian stock market or buy Australian bonds.
Wow.
Cool.
Yes, but you can't do it outside. You can't do it outside of Aussie or anything. You have to do it within the ecosystem, which to me is good enough.
That's really progressive.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said that the Kiwis punch their weights in all these things. And you know, when DeFi is about rewards, right? It's about yields. But this Acala, their DeFi rewards are fixed. It's like Bitcoin. It never increases the supply, which is like, wow. You know, when you do that, it just tends to go up because there's no increasing, there's no inflation.
Yeah.
So I know they were innovative, but for them to get into Coinbase and for them to lead this Polkadot into DeFi is a huge deal. So that's one deal. But the bigger deal is why I say now is a bullish time for Bitcoin. Even look at this. You guys like kimchi? You guys should like kimchi. Because now, for the first time since 2017, we have the kimchi premium. 66,000 is the price of Bitcoin in South Korea. So I regret I broke up with my South Korean girlfriend. Should not have done that. Because I could have bought Bitcoin here for 57.
Not because you're still in love with her or anything like that, because you could have bought Bitcoin.
Yeah. And send it to her in Korea and she could sell it for 66,000. I don't think I'll get the difference though, but never mind.
How does that work, Shukri?
Korean is always more expensive because the demand there is high. But we foreigners, me and you, can't open an account in Korea. So we need a Korean. So
okay.
You would buy here and then you would send it. Say someone in Korea has a private address, right, on MetaMask or Ledger. Yeah, you just send it to them, and then they will bring it to the Korean exchange and sell it there.
legal money laundering.
Yeah, that is. It's like 15%. Now, at the peak of the cycle last time, this was at 20%. So this shows you that the Koreans are coming back. The Asians are coming back. And the Asians are coming back. You can see it also in things like Tron. This is why I thought this would happen in July, but it's happened earlier, of course, as usual. I'm usually very late. I predict things, but they happen earlier than I expect. This is Tron. This is another. This is a market Chinese. This is Chinese. And look at the yields. I've staked here actually. I've kind of staked here for 48% yield, and that's my reward so far. And this is another one, NEO. And look at the yield on the US dollar pair. That's like, what is this? 105%, 151%. So, why I say Bitcoin is really, really bullish, or the entire crypto sphere is really bullish. When you have the Chinese and Koreans coming in, it is total pandemonium. Yeah, because when Westerners speculate, to us, it's like, nah, they're just kidding. They're not speculating. That's normal.
So what's are we just expecting just like sideways consolidation for a while, Shukri, or are we expecting Are we anticipating?
I expect it to go up. I do expect it to go
but
up.
Are we what kind of time of year do you expect it to start
this
climbing?
This time until June. Yeah, until June.
Okay.
See, what is really worrying me is this. The only thing that worries me is this. Let me write it down. Now, heading now 14th May, as Gordon says, is D-Day, right? That's when they will sell their stocks or whatever. We don't know whether it will be a deep correction or just a consolidation, whatever. But yeah, it does make sense. And Bitcoin also came up the same as stocks. So this is like a sell period, right?
Yeah. Why does it make sense? Because it's seasonal, is it?
Yeah, yes, tax in the US.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense. This is the time when they want to sell to settle their taxes because they get taxed at a lower rate. That makes sense. That totally makes sense. But this period also, 14th May, is also it's going to coincide with something called consensus. Consensus is the most bullish Bitcoin event in New York. And usually after consensus, Bitcoin will go up and only go down by July. That's how it is. This is a big summer rally here. And you can see it here, right there. This is the summer rally right here, June. See that? That one. Because this one, the Bitcoin dominance goes down. That means the markets in general go up. So this would be interesting to see. So I don't know what's going to happen in the stock market, but as far as Bitcoin or crypto consolidation, yes, I expect it to go like that and then a bit like that, and then we will continue up because this is going to drive it.
Interesting, mate. Interesting. So,
so we do have seasonals, but I think now is where the seasonals quite diverge.
Okay, and does that mean that if we're expecting Bitcoin to start kind of bottoming here, if you like, or potentially breaking up again, does that mean that we'd be looking to come out of our alt positions fairly soon and start going back into Bitcoin?
No, because they're going to go together.
They're going to go together, right? Right.
Yes, they're going to go together. What must happen is this: Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin now? 58, 59. This is what will happen. If Bitcoin goes on a steady move like this is good for alts. If Bitcoin goes like that, this is bad.
Okay.
This is bad. This is bad. This is good. So it must go on a steady path up.
What's the reason for that?
Steady. Because
why is it?
When money goes into Bitcoins, they flow out of alts.
Yeah.
In Bitcoin and out of alts. That's what it seems. But now with this thing ready to break down, it looks like it will go together with alts and Bitcoin will go slower.
All right, gotcha.
That's just the way it is. But yeah, it is an interesting period. The cycle seems to be playing out now. So
yeah, very interesting.
Let's see how it goes. Yeah, let's see how it goes. But the good thing now is that the Asians are back in and they could send this market beyond crazy, insane levels.
Right.
Because in 2017, those guys were speculating this cycle that you see, which is a good cycle. It's a pretty well-behaved cycle, because it's driven mostly by the US and UK.
Yeah.
But when the Chinese come in, you ain't seen nothing yet, man. You ain't seen nothing yet, man. They could just drive it.
Right.
Right. You just can't believe. And they've done it already. They've done it with something called Filecoin. And this is what I'll be talking about on Monday. And there seems now that there seems to be a battle. This is interesting. There seems to be a battle between China versus the USA. And this seems to be represented by BTC, and this is represented by something called Filecoin. And they're going into this because, this Filecoin is considered a Chinese company. So this is interesting that this war or silent war or whatever war it is or some, how do you say it? Some relations that are not that good is being represented in crypto, which I see is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And both of these have mining. Okay, you can mine Bitcoin and you can mine Filecoin. And
is Filecoin very new?
Yeah, very new. It seems that the Chinese are mining Filecoin. It's like a national thing.
Right.
So that's not outside of China?
This is in China. See, even China controls the Bitcoin hash rate, but they have this nationalistic view, total nationalism to do Filecoin. Now let's see what Filecoin is doing. So this is interesting. This is so interesting. We are going into areas which we haven't even gone to before. Phil. Yeah, Phil. Peter.
Is Filecoin purchasable?
Yeah, it is. Look at that.
You can buy it.
Look at that. Ooh, look at that.
Okay, so this is a new one.
This is a new one. This is a new one. And what they did right is this. Unlike Bitcoin, you want to mine Bitcoin, just go and buy a machine and you mine it. Now, Filecoin did it right, because now that people are mining Filecoin, you might ask, can't they buy a machine? Yes, they can buy a machine, but being Chinese, they're cleverer than the rest, like the Kiwis, far ahead than the rest. Filecoin has said that you need to buy Filecoin too. You need to have it too if you want to mine it.
You need to have the actual.
You need to buy
coin.
the Filecoin, yes.
Right.
You have big companies spending millions and hundreds of millions on Filecoin mining. I don't think they're gonna go. You just look at Jack Ma, right? They ain't gonna go against Xi Jinping, man. Xi Jinping. No. They are so into this. So this is like amazing.
Yeah.
This is cool. So I think that the next growth coming in May, June is going to come from actually Asia. The Asian coins are coming back again. The Koreans, the Chinese. I now see the Koreans and Chinese. I haven't seen the Japanese yet. I don't know. Where did they go to, Jeff? Have you seen?
They won't be far away, mate. Don't worry.
They won't be far away, yeah. Because
very smart race.
In 2007, these actually brought the crypto market up. In fact, in 2017, the whales were actually Japanese. The whales were in Japan, the big guys. Yeah, the big guys were in Japan, and then Korean was crazy because Korea had 40% of the adult working population had crypto wallets then. So this is a crazy country. And later that year, the Chinese came back in. But now it seems that the Koreans are there, the Japanese are here, no, the Chinese are here, and I think the Japanese are still playing hide and seek.
It's interesting, mate, that you're sort of mentioning these areas, because actually Asia is probably a lot more clued up, I would suspect, and advanced than they are in the UK. I mean, because cryptos in the UK are obviously, they're there and happening, but I wonder whether because the UK is so much more of an established institute and an established system, the cryptocurrencies don't seem to be quite as possible. Whereas,
but it's big in UK, It's the second most use of DeFi now. You might ask, what is stopping these guys from coming in? It's the gas fee.
Yes.
The high gas fees on Ethereum.
Yeah.
But once this goes down, oh man, they will just come in now. They're already going into Filecoin. They're already going to Tron. They're already going to Neo. And those are cheap gas fees. Like yesterday, I went into an IDO yesterday that was for using Ethereum. The gas cost me like $47, which to me is reasonable. I went in another IDO on PancakeSwap, which is Chinese. It's Binance, right? It cost me 20 cents. And I'm like, 20 cents is expensive, man.
Right.
So once these guys bring gas fees down, or once Ethereum gas fees come down and these guys go to the mining, and then you get a different story altogether. And this is why I said that the next batch of Crypto Moon will have to do a dollar study, because there will be more blockchains coming in the middle of the year. They will have to know this is a different wallet called Tron. This is a different wallet called Flamingo. This is Neoline, and then you have MetaMask, and you're gonna have so many wallets. And at that time, you guys got to decide, okay, which one do you want to go to? Because
this is the interesting thing at the minute, isn't it? It's becoming quite saturated, but probably not oversaturated, because they're all fixing something slightly different. But it's becoming quite saturated. At what point does it become just a little bit too out of control?
End of this year, it will definitely go out of control early next year. But my advice is, come July, August, and this is the thing. where do you make the most money? You want to go into the wallet that allows you to make the most money. Of course, the wallet that allows you to make the most money is the thing that will make you want to throw away your computer. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
If it's easy and everyone is there, then things go like Jeff said, right? Everything must revert back to the mean.
Yeah.
But if you are there when no one wants to go through, you are in line you're the first one. You don't have to be that clever to make money,
Yeah.
You can be the dumbest guy in the room and the smart guys come in and lift you up and you get out.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, mate, actually, because it is, that the first people in are the ones that are in the best possible position, because as you say, as soon as everybody else is talking about it, it's kind of too late.
Yeah, it's kind of too late. Look at the yields here. This is USD. Look at that. Nobody's going to get you that. So I am going to move my, I have a farm on Ethereum. I'm going to move it here. With the stupid gas fees, I didn't make any money on that. All my yield is going to the gas fees. This is so I better move it here. This is on Neo and this is on Tron. Let's see what Tron gives me. Where is my USD? USD, do they have? Where's my, no, I don't want that. BTC, SD. Yeah, that's right, 11. And I only get 11 here. I let 13%.
How sustainable is that, Shukri, longer term for them to be
paying? Longer term, it goes down. So you have to get in early.
Yeah.
You have to get in early. But these guys are okay. This is okay, because you will pretty much get this because in Tron, the gas fees are almost zero.
Right.
If you go on Ethereum, you don't read the yield on Ethereum. If you don't have enough funds, you won't make money because if it's too small, the gas fees are going to kill you.
Right. And are they generating this yield by lending your coins out?
Yes.
And is somebody going to pay 13% to borrow your coins?
Yes, because in a bull run, let me add it. Good question. Let me tell you, in a bull run, when the Chinese come in, when the Asians come in, when the Japanese come in, they are experts in leverage. They will lever up like mad.
Right.
So these are actually lending out to all the exchanges.
Right.
It's not good, but that's just what happens here, and that happened in 2017. So expect this to go insane.
It's just a crazy number, isn't it? I mean, to get a 14%, near 40% yield on anything is just astonishing. But my question then would be:
someone is borrowing USD. Someone is borrowing USD at higher than this, probably around 18, and that he can make more than 18% a year.
But why would you borrow here when you could borrow from the bank cheaper?
That is because here you don't need, here this is decentralized. You don't need your KYC.
But is this still the best? I mean, because that still seems like a high rate. I mean, surely you could find a different cryptocurrency that's going to offer you.
But if they go to the bank, there are limits, right? Here they don't even know who you are.
So but what about other cryptos though, mate? What about Celsius, for example?
Celsius, you need Celsius. You need that. You need. I think you need KYC there. Yeah, but Celsius also lends to the big people. Yeah.
But would they lend out 18%? I mean, surely it'd be cheaper than that.
They're quite expensive, So
really?
they have a lot of good customers that seem to be paying that. So the thing is simple. The thing is that it's not whether you can get 0 or 1% at the bank, which you can. The thing is the people who are borrowing this, they're not borrowing at 13.83, they're borrowing at 18.
Yeah.
Are so confident of making 18% in 1 year. No, I said that wrong. They're confident of making 18% in a month and then paying it back.
Right. Because potentially that they could be. I mean, not to kind of cast aspersions, but they could potentially be doing something a little bit underhand with that money, so they don't want to be tracked. So they'll borrow from these guys. Yes. Right, I gotcha.
This is decentralized. This is like nobody knows who you are. You just have a wallet. Yeah. You don't even have to do KYC for this wallet. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And you don't wear cement boots.
Nope.
You probably will eventually, mate.
Well, I don't know. How can they find you?
Now, here's the thing. The thing is the governments are cracking down hard on taxes. I think the government now has come up with this term. I saw it yesterday in a newspaper in Malaysia. Hello, Malaysia. They want to introduce e-invoices. That's kind of like technology. That's kind of like introducing technology to catch us all. Yeah,
right.
We're modernizing. Yeah, right. You want to catch us.
Will they eventually catch up? I was having this discussion with Paul yesterday, and I've got a feeling they're too late. Are they?
Yeah,
you think
they will. But here's the deal. Okay, we are always fast, and at the end of the day, I am always of the opinion: reserve some money when you are caught. And for me, it's very simple, and they will audit me again.
Yeah.
It's just normal. You know, don't spend everything. They will eventually catch up. But again, as I said, in crypto, it is possible to follow you around your wallet. That's fine. But what if you don't bring back to the country? What if I don't bring back to Malaysia?
Yeah.
What if I cash out in Singapore? What if I cash out in the UK? What if I cash out in Indonesia? Then we have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have a big problem. Yeah. What if I cash out in Tasmania?
No, we haven't got enough GDP for you.
Well, people will be doing that though, surely, Shukri.
Yes, they will. And,
so they can't catch them all.
You know, no, you can't. At the end of the day, I always say that if you're a small guy, I don't think they'll go after you. If you're a big guy, probably pay a nice visit, send you a good birthday card. Hey, hi, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Remember.
But this is the thing, though. You see, if they must be losing, who knows how much through all this stuff going on, which means that they must be thinking, hold on a minute, we can't let this thing go on.
They know they are losing. I mean, the head of Malaysian tax knows that he's losing. He knows.
So what will they eventually do?
For Malaysia, I think they will start introducing steps, as the finance minister said. He won't do anything this year, I think, because there's a general election. But after that, no matter which government wins, I mean, to be fair to the government, they've been spending a lot on incentives and all that, stimulus and all that, even for Malaysia. Look, they have to make something back. That's fair. That's fair.
I think it's interesting, mate, because, you know, we talk about, you know, the crypto world and talk about making money on the crypto world, but actually there's also probably an equally interesting discussion on the macro side of it. You know, what's going on with governments and how long does this stuff last? You know, can it last? It is. Where are we going with this stuff? You know, where are we going with NFTs? Where are we going with cryptocurrencies?
Let me show you.
What are the risks?
Let me show you. JP Morgan expects 130K.
Yeah.
Cathy Wood, which is the smartest person in the world now, I'm second, expecting 470K. But this is in 2025. This is 2025. So I think between 130K this year to, you know, Citibank says 300K is logical. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then it depends on how. It depends on Biden and the Fed. Yeah, Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi wax on. It's going to go on and on and on. That depends on Jeff's friend now.
Yeah, my mate.
And yet his mate. Hey, that's just the way it is. But this is what it's become. And now, I think one of the reasons why gold has lost its luster, it's now Bitcoin versus gold. If you see in every Twitter thing, it's now Bitcoin is just taking aim at gold. When they quote numbers like this, they are quoting against gold.
Yeah, right.
They're not quoting against Bitcoin or Ethereum or nothing. They're not quoting against silver. They're not quoting against any asset. It's really versus gold. Gold.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's really interesting. Which you know, I mean, I suppose maybe it's the contrarian in me, but that makes me really even more interested in buying gold.
Yeah, I know. I'm more interested in buying gold too. I'm just buying gold and then not doing anything.
Yeah.
See, see gold. See, even this one. See gold. Everything is against gold now. You know, everything is like against gold. Is that gold?
Give me a nice high at low, and I might be interested as well.
Yeah, I still, you know, if gold pops down to 1550, I think it's really interesting. But I mean, you've got to, in my opinion, and I've always said it, I think you've got to have both in your portfolio, because you just protect yourself that way, because gold could, all of a sudden collapse. Of course it could, but so could cryptos in a way. That they could come out with something that just destroys the crypto market. Nobody really knows what's going on behind the scenes.
I think that's the more likely scenario of the two. Not saying it'll happen, but it's
they must see the danger. Well, you think what they've done with gold, and you think what they've done with silver, they've managed to suppress the price of what it's really worth. Particularly
I'm surprised,
silver.
They really suppressed it. They just killed it.
They've killed it, yeah. So if they can do that with that, then what's to say that eventually they don't work out a way to do the same with this stuff if that serves their purpose?
But that shows you how powerful this the mainstream media is, right? So you remember last year when Bitcoin was going up, the mainstream media was keeping its head down, like not doing anything, so that the big boys can come in. And suddenly when the big boys come in, they announce the war against gold. Whereas last year it's like, no, we're not going against gold. Gold is different. Do you guys remember that? And now, whoa, okay, we got you.
Yes.
We got you and you didn't smell it.
Yeah, which is the worst part of it. Always the way. Mate, such interesting stuff as always. I mean, I reckon I could probably talk to you for a week. And we probably only still scratch the surface. But
I need about 6 months to understand it.
So. Yeah.
Being old is not fun.
But let's move on anyway, mate, because we've taken up enough of your time, and we are I think due for another show soon as well. I can never remember which day it's on.
One question, Shukri, before you go. Yeah. That high res thing, is that of me?
Yeah.
Or is that
the picture? Yeah, because the one that you gave was only 12 kilobytes. So when I tried to put it in, it came out an error. I said, "Oh man, it's only too small." I didn't check the size of it. I should have checked the size.
So it's big enough, as you can see.
Yeah, it's
so
okay,
how do I?
High resolution one.
How do I do that?
There's a
Scan
JPEG.
it.
Let me find out. Yeah, it's usually a high resolution JPEG or something.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
Right, buddy.
Now, Jeff. In fact, I'll talk to you about this before I announce it on the show. We'll talk after. I've got something we can do on Thursday, or maybe on Mondays.
Okay.
Maybe Mondays, but we'll see.
Sounds interesting.
Just maybe for one of the guys in the room to win.
Oh, John said something important here, right? Innovation is always 10 steps of the guy. He's right. So this is why I'm 11 steps ahead of the government. I'm planning to move down to Singapore. That's it.
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's not that I'm running from Texas. I just do not want to be punished unfairly for being clever. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I'm in the trend and all that. I just don't want to be punished. Or maybe Jeff could hide me in the mountain in Tasmania somewhere.
Yeah. Too easy, buddy. Yep. Underwater.
I think that's fair, mate. I think that's fair.
I'm sure I'll fill your mouth full of marbles. You'll still be able to talk. No problem. Thanks, mate. Much appreciated. We'll catch up with you next week. Yeah.
Yep.
See you soon, Shukri.
Okay. You wanted me to have a look at the Euro and the Aussie.
Yes.
Gyro. Yeah.
Oh, I do too. Oh, Euro, I'm always interested in now, mate. Oh, thanks for the trade last week, by the way, mate.
Which one?
Pound dollar.
Oh, pound dollar?
Yeah, it's a beauty. Beauty.
Tell you what, it's interesting market at the moment because quite a few positions we're getting into which just aren't following through. You're getting TP1, no problem. But beyond that, it's getting a little bit tight, especially on the smaller time frames. So I'm trying to convince myself really that I need to take a little bit more off at TP1. So we might be working on that this week until that changes. We'll see how we go. Euro and Aussie, wasn't it? Aussie. Yeah, look, I spoke about the Aussie and the RBA statement. And the RBA statement to me, as I said, wasn't hawkish, wasn't dovish, but it did have a couple of pertinent points in there. And I did want to run that past Ash to get a better idea in my head as to what it actually all meant. But what I see technically hasn't changed, unfortunately, because I want to be bullish. I want to be bullish. I can't be bullish until we get back above this neckline. This neckline is still broken and retested. Yes, we've gone into a bit of a range here, and that bar is interesting, I must agree. What was that, Thursday's bar? That is interesting and may well push it back, may well. The RBA statement, I don't think will hurt that from a fundamental aspect. But I still think we're trapped here at the moment, and I just can't make up my mind as to what happens next. You can see the pivots have closed in weekly, monthly, and that's not unusual early in the month, of course, and the daily pivot sandwich bang in the middle of them. So if I'm absolutely frank, I've got to say I just don't know right now. I'm bullish in my mind, but I've also got the US dollar, which I still think has got a little bit left in it, a little bit left in the tank. So that's going to, keep this on an even keel as well. So I really don't have anything that I can give you other than we still have technically a head and shoulders, a neckline break, and a neckline retest. Whilst ever that's the case, I've got to be thinking short Aussie US dollar. If we get back above that neckline, this being the neckline, then things change. So above the monthly pivot and a retest of that confluence area changes my mind pretty quickly, and I'll trade it up to here most definitely, and maybe then even look for higher highs. So that phase, there may be another one left in this. And on the monthly chart, I totally get that. Phase 1, phase 2, I think we're yet to see a phase 3, which should take on that level there at some stage around about the 81 mark. So I've still got that in the back of my mind. But the strength in the US dollar at the moment is probably going to put a lid on that for now. So I don't think it's something that I actually want to jump into. Short term, yes, don't have a problem because you can see there quite clearly that we have a range. So that could go on for quite some time before we get a resolution here. And I'm expecting that will probably be the case. But short to medium, up here, retest, I'll go to here. But whilst ever we're below that area, I've probably got to think that we're probably confined to that area. That's the Aussie, the Euro. We spoke about this last week, and we had a lot of downside momentum. And oh, sorry, I was just reading something. And we got this turnaround as we anticipated. We might get a bounce off this level. Not tradable for me, not on any time frame. But if you were around on Thursday, Friday, and I didn't even realize the markets would be open on Friday, there probably was some way in there. I think the daily chart here would have given you an opportunity. So back inside the range, break, retest there of that level. Not for me. That's yesterday's bar, of course. Is that yesterday's bar? Yes. We are here, aren't we? So this could potentially have a little bit more upside. Why not? Where's the next level here for euro dollar? It's probably in that vicinity. So it may have a little bit left in it. The monthly pivot's there as well. Why can't it go to here? I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case. The 4-hour chart, if I'm completely oblivious to the downside, I then look at exactly the same thing as we just looked at on the Aussie, where we've got left shoulder, head, right shoulder, break, and this is a very strong break. Whether that's false or not is yet to be determined, but it probably has credentials to go to there, which ain't that far away. So I wouldn't want to be trading this long at the moment, not least because we haven't had a test of the daily pivot also. But as I say to you often, when we do have a reversal in place, it is often the case that the daily pivot doesn't even get a look in. That said, we haven't had a retest of the neckline yet. So I certainly wouldn't be jumping into a long here for those two reasons. There's no retest and there's no test of the daily pivot at this point. But can this reverse? I don't think at the moment I'd be looking for this to happen, but stranger things, you know. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it is due a pullback. There's no question. So I think maybe with that in mind, if I do see a pullback to here and not a re-entry below it, then I'd probably be looking to trade that long from there. Targets, a bit questionable. But like I always say, if you can't imagine the euro here against the US dollar, think again, because it can easily happen. Easily happen. Nobody was thinking once this broke that we're going long, but that's precisely what we look for at those crucial points. These levels are not flukes. They're not there for no reason. They're there because the market respects them. And if you can find a confluence, then these become really, really good places to find bounces. And that's what we're finding here. But I'll be looking for a retest now before I'd want to join in that long brigade. So I'm not really giving you anything too much there, Jaira, I'm sure, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing at least if I'm looking on the 30-minute chart today for euro dollar, I'm looking for a daily pivot test. At the moment, good luck, you're in a range. So maybe you can trade it as a false break off the top of that range and find an entry up here. Happy days. I'd be more than happy with that. And if I saw that today, that's probably what I would go with. What do you think, Ash, on the euro?
Well, I mean, but when it comes down to the fundamentals of the euro, I'm struggling, if I'm honest. I mean, the numbers have been good, but as I say, the pandemic really concerns me. The story of the pandemic really concerns me. I was looking at a euro Aussie earlier on as a possible long.
I like that. We tried to get that last week, remember?
Yeah, my issue was
this hasn't gone away. Everything's inside this at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing with the euro as well is the euro Aussie was that it was through the pivots, and I think that trend line that you've got there is achievable. You know, I think we're going to that particular point. It was looking pretty good to me when it came down to the euro Aussie. So I don't like the fundamentals, but I do like the technicals with this one. And
Agreed.
As I say, when I was looking at the charts this morning, I was keen on this one. This is the one that I was going to take, you know. I then started looking at the RNS and all, you know, all things stock related. So I switched away from it. But let me just see. But yeah, in actual fact, I would want it around about the 154.60 area, really.
So down here, monthly pivot area.
Just above the monthly pivot. You know, I'd be quite happy with that. But you know, okay, that the pivots aren't in the right order. But what's interesting is that price is above all of those areas now, and that would suggest to me that that's going to act as some kind of area of support. So yeah, I like that one. I like the euro. Actually, where are we now? Oh yeah, no, actually, you know what? This one was on market open. There was an opportunity on this one on market open. MC4's changed now because our clocks have changed. MC4 is now looking like it is. Is it 2 hours ahead? I'm not sure. I can't
No,
tell.
that's market open there.
Let's have a look what you've got there. That's
market open.
That bar.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one. I thought that was a good one. If you get onto the 15, then that's what I was looking at. I was just looking at it coming down and testing the pivots. Oh, it'll
get there eventually.
Yeah.
You were looking for a retest off here.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, didn't come down. Didn't come down. Yeah, it was a bit of a sod, mate, but it looked good though. It looked good, and you know, given the fact that that has done that this morning, I'll try and look for something similar tomorrow, because most of the ones that set up in this particular way actually were looking pretty good. And the one thing that put me off, I think, with the euro is that, in fact, the other one I really liked was the euro Swissy. I haven't even looked at where that's gone, but the euro Swissy long was another one. But I think that did have quite a few pivots in the way. Yeah, it did.
It's just climbing above them now.
Yeah, yeah. That was the other one that I liked this morning. But I looked at it and again I thought, well, because if you look at the trend there, you know, the 22nd of March low, and then we go to the 30th of March, and then we were kind of on that level, and that's what I liked about it. You know, I thought that looked like a pretty nice trending market to me.
Don't mind it at all. Yeah, a higher low here looks interesting. Even a double cross of the pivots would be good.
Yeah.
Maybe we already had that on the daily there, but you can't trade into that. It's too hard. So, yeah. If you used this trend line, either that one or this one.
So John, your question about is it too early in the first month of the second quarter? I think this is the perfect time to enter some short-term trades, because the volatility tends to be pretty good here. So you do maybe to make longer term decisions, I'd agree. But for those shorter term trades, this is usually the best week. I always find the first week as the best week to kind of take some positions. Remember, we've got Fed tomorrow, so that might jerk things around a bit. But I think there could be some opportunities. And now we're waiting for the US Open. You know, the first kind of wave has gone probably after this first hour's happened. So you'd be picking up a few scraps possibly now, but the explosive stuff's happened. But in the US Open, I think there could be an opportunity. And watch out for that NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ is currently drifting to the downside. So watch out for that for a pop to the upside again in the US Open. I think that could be a possibility if it's down at the lows again.
I'd be prepared to trade this long if the current 4-hour bar is bearish and decisive. So if we came back maybe to retest the daily pivot. Hourly chart, don't like that too much. But again, a big bearish bar down here would get me interested, I have to say. Jaira, to answer your question, I have had chats with Paul regarding this. And those of you who haven't read the question, you had an update of the Wave Rider on the weekend. Will we have an update of the Slingshot? The issue that we have with the Slingshot is that the trend lines, which I call trade lines or my lines, are extremely hard to plot. If you guys, in your quant wisdom or infinite ability to program, can suggest a way where we can actually predetermine where those trade lines will go, then we'd be more than interested to have that answer. And if that is the case, then exactly what has happened with the Wave Rider can happen to the Slingshot as well. That doesn't mean we're not going to look at it. Yes, we are, most definitely. We've got to have some long conversations around that as to how to do it, however. So trade lines is really the issue, and where how we can plot them.
Oh, you're talking about the robot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tricky,
well,
isn't it?
I don't know about the robot, but all the back testing that's been done on the Wave Rider strategy, I think that was presented on Saturday. I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I really don't know exactly where that went. But Paul was having a chat to me last week, and we did mention that we would like to do exactly the same thing with the Slingshot. But again, the issue is our trade lines. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, no doubt, mate. No doubt. Okay, mate, well,
we better Geo.
We better Geo. Yeah, really good show. I will talk to you later on about a little idea that I've got for the show, and we will be joined, I think, by Ainsley tomorrow, won't we?
But look, we are due to be joined by Ainsley. She's had a bit of a problem with her internet last week, which is why she couldn't join us. Hopefully that's resolved itself. And yes, she will be with us tomorrow.
Fantastic. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks again, as always. Thanks, Angel, for all your work. And thank you to you, mate. I will see you in the morning.
All right, mate. Did you want to chat later today or tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we can chat later on. Yeah, it's only like a 5-minute, just a little idea that I've got. So let's get a quick brew, and I'll meet you back in about 5 minutes.
All right, mate. Happy days. Cool. And thank you all.